You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by Referral Mortgages and Blue Panda Realty, with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate in our nation's capital.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast, aka Toe Rep. My name is Paul Stevenson. I'm joined today, as always, by Greg Campbell. He's a partner, realtor, Blue Panda Realty. David Warren, he's an owner, Referral Mortgages, expert mortgage agent. And I am also an owner at Referral Mortgages and an expert mortgage agent. And we're here today. We're here today to talk about mortgages, real estate, whatever else we want to talk about. Quick shout out to our producer, Steve, the man that makes this happen, keeps it all together, and also to our coffee sponsor, North Brew Coffee. If you're interested, go to northbrew.ca. Check it out. They got great coffee, and if you use the promo code podcast, they'll even give you 20% off your order as many times as you want. Indefinite discount. Welcome to the show. If it's your first time listening, welcome. Greg,
What's
David.
going on,
Greg, you look very stone-like today.
very stoic.
I'm just going to
very stoic.
I should have given you a serious pick. It would have made it more fun. But there's just something about that pick that makes me happy.
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. How was the week?
It's been great. We're at the if anyone's wondering who's watching here, not just listening, I'm up at the cottage with my family. We've been having a great time. Had some actual time to shut off, but been back online since Tuesday, and making sure that everything keeps moving.
I love that Greg has become a ventriloquist on this episode. So I got a bit of I had a fun situation this week with I've been dealing with the appliance saga right now. I personally had ordered an appliance in February, and it was originally supposed to come in April, and then got moved to June 30th. And then on June 28th, they decided to tell me that, sorry, won't be June 30th. It's going to be August 26th now. I said, okay, sure, no worries. And then just last week, it went from August 26th to October 28th. So we're just moving down the calendar as far as expected. So I was telling a story to a friend yesterday, and he told me about something that happened to one of his colleagues. I'll give you the Coles notes, but essentially he ordered in December. So before everything went kind of crazy in early 2021. And he followed up in February. He was supposed to get it in January, followed up in February. They looked into it, said they'd get back to him. About 2 weeks later, he hadn't heard from them. This is a local store that handles hardware and things of that nature. And so he followed up in February. They said, we'll get back to you. Never heard from them. He followed up with them in March. And they said, oh, we thought we got back to you. And he said, no, you never got back to me. So what's up? He's like, well, it turns out that the manufacturer contacted us and had no record of your order. So we have to start from scratch again. So he had to literally in March, after ordering in December, reorder. And to be fair, he did get it within, I think, 6 weeks after that point. It was like I say reasonable, but within a reasonable time frame in comparison. But we were discussing it, and I think I know this has been an issue with car manufacturers. But I think it has to do with the chip shortage. I know, Dave, we were talking about this recently, that there's a chip shortage for cars. Lots of cars have been manufactured sitting on lots without the necessary chips to make them function, since they're, moving computers now. And I have to believe that this appliance shortage / turf war, whatever the hell it is due to the same issue. Dave, do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, it seems to be across the board. I don't know if it's the I don't know if it's the material that's needed or the plants producing them, but there's a worldwide shortage affecting boats, appliances, like RVs, vehicles, and so it's a huge problem.
Yeah, I can actually speak to this for a change. Yeah, this is like it's literally everywhere. It is affecting every industry. It's been a huge thing for me in terms of equipment and the availability of things. Like new products are being announced, and then they're like, well, it's actually delayed 8 months because we have no capacity to actually manufacture the thing. And I don't know for sure. I think some of this is like exacerbated by, if you guys remember that boat that got stuck in the canal earlier this year.
Yeah.
Like that, you know, like as it was only a month, but it set back international shipping. Like it's a massive delay globally. So yeah, and like we put chips in everything now, right? Like I saw last week that IKEA's coming out with a side table that is an air purifier. So that means you can buy an end table at IKEA that has a computer chip in it as an air fire. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was going to be the next thing. I mean, 5 years ago, they were talking about smart everything, you know, smart toasters, smart side tables. So yeah, but I mean, I guess when I think of the date extension, when I'm talking personally, it just makes me realize that they genuinely have absolutely no idea when this is going to be rectified. Like if they're pushing it out still 4 months, and that's just a hopeful date. It's not even like a firm date. That's kind of like, we'll give you an update around that date. You know, that means they literally have no idea still when they're going to be getting these chips. Cause you know, the fridges, the cars, the stoves, whatever, they're all built already. They're just missing these pieces to be able to ship them out. So, it's very interesting. And it's definitely affecting a lot of industries, as Stephen mentioned.
But then it also on the real, you know, bring it back to real estate. I mean, that also people buying a new build, builders are ordering, you know, thousands of sets of appliances, and there's likelihood that you might close on your property without appliances, and it's an IOU kind of thing. So, you know, I haven't heard any horror stories yet from anyone. I don't know if you have, Greg or Paul, but certainly I can see that happening if it hasn't already. Have either of you had any clients or spoken to anyone that's...
So to answer your question, Dave, I haven't heard of anyone with a new build, but I have heard of other people that are having even worse experiences than my own personal. Like I know some people have been given dates of like February, March of next year. I know even my daughter is working for an interior design firm, and they're saying for kitchens, like kitchen installs, they're booking into spring of next year. Just for countertops and everything else. Like everything is a huge shortage, which is kind of surprising. I mean, it's obviously just a ripple from the last 6 months, but you know, in the last 6 months, you've still been able to book in quick succession. So I'm surprised to hear now that things are open, that the delays are still so far out. You think it would slowly start to roll back this way, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I just we just got a quote from a window company for a house in Cumberland, and there was only one that could make it happen by January. And they were also the only ones that install in January.
Yeah, it would be tough to install a window in January, I would imagine.
Oh, I know they have parameters obviously for what works to do a good install in the winter. But they just, you know, everyone else I called, they're like, no, we're installing like next spring. These guys were like, no, we can do it in January, and we can do the install in January.
That does remind me, talking about windows, there is a government grant, window grant for $5,000 out there, people. I've
told a lot of people about that since you mentioned it, Dave.
Yeah, you can go on the government site for it. Register. They send out somebody to assess your home for energy efficiency and recommend, you know, whether it be doors, windows, caulking around, you know, your vents or what have you, installation. But yeah, for windows and doors, you can get up to $5,000 towards that. So something to check out if you haven't already or in need of windows and doors.
I didn't know that. I'm going to send that to my guys. That's great. Thanks.
Something I have seen. We're here to save money and give great advice. One thing I have been asked a lot recently, and something we've been running into, Dave, I know yourself and myself, is just condos, condo fees, association fees, basically what they cover, what they don't cover. Kind of made me think of it when you mentioned the windows, because typically when you're paying condo fees, they'll cover everything on the exterior of the home. So right up until kind of your sewer backup, in your basement. They kind of cover right up until that, but anything inside the home is typically your responsibility. But one thing that we've seen more specifically recently is self-managed condos. So condo corporations or condominium complexes, that are not managed by an official, numbered condo corp, which is, I don't want to say the standard, but that's, the majority of condominiums are managed by condo corps. So we've been seeing, sorry, Dave?
I was just going to say professional property management companies.
Yes.
That know it. Yeah.
So self-managed condos would be, typically it's a smaller set of units. So, 10 to 50 units. And instead of paying for a professional management company, they typically will manage them themselves. And they'll just have, an internal board with, treasurer and so on and so forth. And then they collect the money, they get their own quotes and so on. But a lot of lenders will kind of scrutinize those files or those properties a little more in depth because they want to make sure that, it's being self-managed properly. And we've come across it. I've seen it more recently than I've seen it in the past 8 years. So I know, Dave, if you want to, I don't know, give an explanation further into that, or I don't know if maybe you can give an example.
It's exactly as you said. Typically, most condos are managed by a professional property management company. They do all the audits. They handle the financials. You do have a board made up of the people that live within the condo. But you do have a third party scrutinizing that helps with financials, making sure reserve funds are there, or managing repairs and maintenance, things like that, as well as getting like engineering studies. And so the self-managed ones, I guess in the past and current, they're more prone to having issues with the funds being collected, condo fees not being increased appropriately. Because it's being managed by the people living there, they're saying, well, no, we're not going to raise condo fees, even though there's repairs needing to be done because they themselves are not wanting to pay more in condo fees. And so it ends up in some of those cases, and not just that, but in other aspects as well, that, deferred maybe maintenance that causes issues. And so the banks look at it as, well, these are, not as reliable necessarily condos or financials, or they've had the investigation. So there's a lot of banks that just flat out won't lend on condos that are self-managed. Or if they do, they require like 2 years financials of the condo board, like 6 months to 2 years of the meeting minutes, all the condo documents. It's a really in-depth that they want up front, and they're then sending the file still to the risk department. I have one right now that self-managed as well that finally just got the approval back with Scotia after over a month, and that was, they had to go to their risk department. They had to scrutinize it, even though CMHC was on board and they're fine with it. The banks still do their due diligence. So, for that file, it was, submitted July 7th, and I just got the commitment yesterday because of the added due diligence. So if you're, for realtors out there or home buyers looking at a self-managed condo, take an extra level of scrutiny to it, or have your lawyer scrutinize the condo corp docs and financials. If there's special assessments or deferred maintenance, these are going to be issues, and you're going to have trouble getting financing for them. And so just something to be aware of. And also for buyers buying these properties, you're not going to have the pick of the litter of banks that will do them as well. So, you're not going to have as many options for rates or different products, things like that. So just to be mindful of that.
Were you aware of that, Greg? Did you know that was that would cause further scrutiny?
No.
Stena is saying that,
no,
two comments. Hanif says condo corps are mucho expensive. He says, as I say this after living in my house for 34 years. And then Stena also said self-managed condo corps sound very risky. So risky, I think, is a bit too,
I don't know about that, negative
of a word. Like, I think did they just require further in-depth review, because you could have some people, you may have a small condominium that has, 10 to 15 units, and you might have one or two people that are, take it very seriously and are very diligent and manage it even better than some of the professional corps. But the lenders just want to make sure that that is the case and that you're not dealing with people.
Sorry, dude. I'm like,
no, go ahead.
Maybe I'm choppy here. The last one that I did that was self-managed was amazing. And it's in Orleans, and the guy, I've done 3 deals in there over the years, and it's still the same guy who manages it. And he's like totally on the ball. And like every time it's like, no problem at all. Status certificate's been great, flying colors. But yeah, I can imagine that some of them like that are just people just don't pay attention. I also know that, with some of them that are self-managed, the board is not great.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think with it, like I said, it's typically the condo corp and board and property manager that looks at the reserve fund. They also have audits or review from their accountants and or in other cases, appraisal firms that will go in and look at that of what would be needed or what should be set aside for reserve funds. But again, self-managed, they're deciding what they want to put in and maybe they're shorting that instead, which is not necessarily helpful, as opposed to a third party that's saying, okay, it's removed that personal connection. And they're just saying, no, we need to increase 3% to make sure with the rise in costs. And we know that these are coming up. But anyways, I mean,
for sure,
the condos are still there's still great ones, like Greg said, out there, and not to be, don't be scared of them or anything like that. Just more so it's, food for thought that when you're looking at them, that they are going to be scrutinized more heavily by the banks, and there are quite a number of them that won't lend on them.
And it'll definitely be disclosed, so it's not something that you need to worry about them, sweeping it under the rug or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Greg, speaking of condo fees, what's what would you say currently is kind of like the average condo fee in Ottawa? And follow up, what's the highest condo fee you've seen? That's for my own personal interest.
That's a tough one. I mean, I think on average, you're honestly you're in the $450 range.
Mm-hmm.
The highest one that I've seen recently is $1,600.
Mm.
That is a $2 million new penthouse.
Okay.
So there's a reason for that.
There's a luxury tax there.
Yeah. It's, it's all over the map, and people still think, I'm going to try to find something with a low condo fee, but you really got to investigate it and understand, why is the condo fee so low? Is it going to jump through the roof soon? Or if the condo fee is higher, why did it get so high, and what was done to create that? You just want to make sure if it wasn't, if it's bad management gets replaced generally. But you really, you got to be super diligent. I had trouble selling one recently because the asphalt, the roads, like the walkways, everything, it was terrible. And there was talk of a special assessment, and the condo fee was already $450. So a lot of people just kind of couldn't justify spending the price on the property versus a potential condo fee increase. $450 maybe going to $500, or $450 in a special assessment of $3,500 on each unit to help pay for what wasn't left in the reserve fund. So you got to make the decision too. If you're buying a condo, are you going to stay there for a while? Does that bother you? Do you think it's being managed well? You listen to your lawyer's advice when they review the status certificate.
Yeah, and go door knock. Literally talk to some of the neighbors and ask, how is this? How do you like this neighborhood? How is it taken care of? Is it maintained well? Is the snow removed in the winter like they say it is?
No,
do your own due diligence.
It's the condo that I had. The condo I had that I lived in for years was amazing. The fees went up gradually, as they always do, but they did everything, roof, windows, paving, new balconies, fence, new handrails. They did it all. And then we finally had a special assessment after owning it for 15 years. because they went to replace all the siding, and then there was they found a bit of mold in two of the buildings. Some water got in. So anyways, we had to pitch in. It was $3,600 for every unit. But I mean, I was happy to pay it to know that, so it's like, that's a good case. I think that was a well-run condo. I was on the board for a bit, but I didn't.
I think there are big differences in condo fees and what they cover as well. So, condo fees are determined in most cases or are in all cases determined, especially in a building, based on square footage of the unit, will make up what that condo fee in a condo building of what that unit's condo fees will be. I will say that my record for the highest I've seen is $3,000 a month for condo fees. But there are some, and it's something to be mindful of is that in most cases it does cover your water. Like Paul said, all the exterior of the home, the roof, the windows, the siding, your walkway, anything like that, yard maintenance, typically like lawn or whatever. But also, water. So instead of paying, that $50 a month in your water bill, you're, having that included. And in some condo buildings, towers, they do include heat as well. So some that might be in the 400 to 500 range for, a 700 square foot or 800 or even 1,000 square foot condo. Some of them do include heat, which again, when you keep that in mind and, reduce that $100 as well, it's something to be factored in to your decision. But I know a lot of people that prefer condos because they only have to worry about the inside, the exterior. Yes, they're paying monthly, but they kind of don't have to have that. They don't have that looming over their head of like a surprise or like the $12,000 roof job that springs up on them, kind of thing.
So my first home was a condo row home, and condo fees were reasonable when we moved in. I think they were $295 or something when I moved in, which was pretty reasonable. This was 2011, and I was the last house on the row before the sewer, I should say. Sorry, it wasn't. I wasn't an actual end unit, but I was the last house before where the sewer to the city went. So I had 3 sewer backups in the 7 years I lived there, and the last one was basically, in my mind, the last straw because it was a little intensive to try to fix that. So they had to come remediate. We were like millimeters away from it touching the wall, which then would have had to, we would have had to tear out the whole basement, and it was a disaster. So long story short, Condo did some investigative work into the sewer lines and so on. It turned out that there was a kink in the actual pipes going to the city. So what happened is that there was a kink, and then people were putting grease and all their other shit down the drains, and it basically backed up to the point where there was no way for it to get out. So because I was the last house, well, first place for it to pop back up. So that was fun. And then the condo basically had to rip up the road, redo all the piping. It was like a $400,000 fix or something along those lines. And right before I moved out, the condo fees went up. No special assessment, I don't remember. But I feel like I'd remember that. But the condo fees went up, I think, about $150 a month, a couple months before I sold. So sorry to everyone in that neighborhood, but brand new pipes. Everyone's pipes are clean, clear.
It wasn't their fault.
Out of control. Yeah, it wasn't my fault. You're right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, pretty wild. But in those cases, I mean, that's a case where, you're not going to, if that happened, I guess the city would have covered it if it was a city home. But there's a lot of instances where, the reason why I was saying that originally is because the condo itself was actually excellent. Like, in the winter, 6 a.m., plows are there, maintenance in the summer, grass is always well kept, maintained. Like it was a very well kept condo. So that fee you're paying is, if you had a single family home, it's like paying literally like a lawn care, driveway maintenance. Like it's like paying all these things on top of it separately. Like you said, Dave, like a lot of them will cover cold, water, heat, things like that. So, if it covers all your utilities and also lawn maintenance, snow removal, et cetera. I mean, it not saying it's a break even, but there is an investment there as well. So making sure that you're getting into a condo that's well maintained or well managed is very important if you're going that route. The other thing to consider too is that when we're factoring pre-approvals, typically around every $400 in condo fees will equate to about $100,000 in purchase price. So if you're looking at, a $300,000 condo with a $400 a month condo fee, that would also, if you remove that condo fee, you would likely qualify for a single family home of 400,000. So there's a very big factor there with the condo fees. Like, it's a very important aspect of pre-approvals and of purchasing. So just make sure if you are looking at condos that you're very specific about that to your broker, to your bank, so that they can make sure that they're properly assessing your numbers, and that you're going in there knowledgeable and informed.
Yeah, and that's why when I do, if I'm shopping with, say row homes, between like 300 and 450 or something like that, I always make sure that the buyers know that ahead of time, because most of them have no idea, right? They're just like, oh, I'm approved for 400, great. And then they'll look at a condo that's 400,000, not realizing that that's, a $500,000 purchase, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They got to be.
It makes a big difference. And even on the pre-approval side, when your bank or your broker is pre-approving that, it's we're having to use a guesstimate of what, based on that price that you would qualify for, what that condo fee might be associated. So it's never going to be exact. And same with the property taxes. We have to kind of make that guesstimate based on the area that you're shopping in, things like that. We take that into account when doing your pre-approval. And so when you're out shopping, though, it's best to, if you're like looking at any property, whether it's a freehold or a condo, but share that listing with your mortgage broker before putting in an offer or anything like that, because those property taxes on every property are different. Condo fees on every property are different. And so all of these come into factor for qualifying. So it might be 400,000 you qualify for, but that's based on an estimated 3,500 property taxes for a freehold. If you're buying a condo and you're 400,000 and the property tax are 3,700 instead, and condo fees of 300, that makes a big difference. And you're not going to qualify for 400,000 anymore. And so certainly share those listings with your brand, with your broker, before any offer. It's because it does drastically affect things, like Paul said. Well, gentlemen, should we get in the mood boost?
Oh,
yeah. Let me just end up with these final numbers for the love of everything. It's so that I don't leave here with egg all over my face. So here are the right numbers. 250. It's not very far off. 259 sold, 92 conditionally sold, 501 active, 17 increase in price, 78 decrease in price.
Okay.
Those are the final numbers that I'm giving you for the last 7 days, not including multi-unit or rentals.
Okay. That's good. 500's it's 1% roughly.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. Mood boost. I'm going to go with 4 today. I'm going to same on the fly.
We're in shootout, by the way, right now. So I've put it on the screen.
I got it on my laptop.
I'm watching it.
If I cheer, you'll know why. Sweden just missed their first shot, by the way. So, mood boost number 1. Why did the espresso keep checking his watch? He was pressed for time. Don't use beef stew. This is number 2. Don't use beef stew as a computer password. It's not stroganoff.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Number 3. How did the barber win the race? He took a shortcut. And last but not least, very topical, an infectious disease walks into a bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve your kind here." And the disease replies, "Well, you're not a very good host."
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
And Sinclair Discord. So, what's up for the weekend, gentlemen? What are we doing? Beautiful day today in Ottawa. Talk to me.
I'm actually headed to the Thousand Islands.
Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm heading up to the Thousand Islands to a friend's cottage, and another friend's got a boat up there as well. So go up there for the night. Should be fun. Haven't been all all summer up there. So it'll be a nice change of scenery.
And I have something interesting happening. No lack of fun here. So we're leaving the cottage tomorrow morning and we're driving back to town where Anna is singing and I'm DJing at our friend's wedding at the Navin Winery.
That's great.
Navin's a good spot.
Domaine Perrault.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we keep hearing it's going to rain like crazy. So, and it'll be our kids' first wedding. They know their kids too, so it should be pretty fun.
Yeah, weddings are always a good time.
I hope.
Nice.
Good dance party, especially with
with that lineup.
With that lineup of entertainment.
Exactly.
Are you selling tickets?
Exactly.
I might be wedding crashing.
What are you up to, Paul?
Not too much. Boys are coming over today. Gonna actually go to a friend's cottage as well tonight. Enjoy the sun, and not too much. Probably watch some of the Olympics. Take it easy. Little R&R. We're celebrating my eldest son's birthday on Sunday. Little BBQ. All in all, going to be a great weekend. Looking forward to it. This week has gone very quickly, but very long at the same time. So I'm looking forward to the weekend. As always, we'll be here next Friday, 10 a.m., recording live, and the episodes are released on Tuesdays, 10 a.m. on YouTube, every podcast platform. And lastly, just a shout out to North Brew again, northbrew.ca. James Rankin, locally owned and operated. And if you're interested in some coffee, just type in the promo code podcast and you'll get 20% off your order. We'll see you next week.
It's a great coffee.
Have a great week, gentlemen.
All right, go Canada. Deuces.
The Ottawa Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Referral Mortgages, Blue Panda Realty, and Stephen Hopkins Video. Thanks for tuning in, and please remember to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you.